welcome back to my channel. So I have been having a rough couple of weeks emotionally, just a lot of stress going on right now, end of the year. Sakizo is eventually going to, I think, break me. I really do. I have some big updates on that I'll share later, and then some updates on Rumi that I'll share in a different video. But for now, I just wanted to talk about not Sakizo and not Rumi and talk about something else because I am tired. So today I'm going to share with you some more resources that I like to use when I am making my cosplays. Now, I am a book person. I definitely prefer to have a book in my hand that I can open up and reference anytime I want or make notes on over something digital. Some people prefer digital, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm going to share with you are books, texts. This is a companion video to one I did, I think, last year, where I shared some of my most used books. I am a big book collector. I have a ton and I keep adding to my collections. So I thought it would be nice to share with you some of my newest additions to my crafting book collection, which I found helpful for my most recent builds and the builds I am planning in the future. So if that sounds great to you, then I'll get on into it. If this isn't your thing, I have plenty of other videos for you to look at, and of course make sure to subscribe for more content from me. So with that, let's get into it. So let's start with my hand sewing books. So one of my favorites is actually by another YouTube creator, Bernadette Banner. She released a book called Make, Sew, and Mend. This book is filled with information on how to get started with hand sewing. You have a bunch of tools that are recommended, fell stitch, which is a favorite of mine. There's so many different stitches within this, how to hand sew a buttonhole, and her instructions I feel are very straightforward and understandable, and she includes lots and lots of pictures. So if you want to get more into hand sewing or just level up your cosplay game with some additional hand sewing techniques, there's always a little bit of hand sewing that pops up every once in a while, and this is a very important chapter in my opinion, and it's the importance of pressing. Ironing is the biggest thing with sewing, and I hate it, and I like to skip till the end. It's taken me a very long time to learn to press my seams as I go, and I learned most of my pressing techniques from a video that Bernadette Banner posted years ago, I think, at this point, and a lot of that information is in this book. I cannot recommend this enough. You can get it on Amazon. I don't know how much I paid for it. It says $22.99. I don't know if I paid that much for it, but I might have, but it's well worth $23. So I highly recommend this one to up your hand sewing game. Next is something that I have used a little bit. If you have watched my previous videos on Sakizo, like the very early ones, I had the idea in my head that I was going to make my own lace. Originally I was going to make like bobbin lace, which utilizes these wooden like bobbins of lace, and you weave them together to create lace. It was going to take me way too long to master to a level that I wanted to utilize in my cosplay. So the next one I was going to try was needle lace. And I will say I will not be utilizing this in my Sakizo build either, because this is again another technique that's just going to take me a while. I do want to keep learning this one though. Handmade lace is an art that is dying out. I think it's on like a protected list somewhere or a watch list of like historical crafts that are on the verge of going extinct. And so I would love to help keep this tradition going. And this is a book written by a woman who has studied needle lace pretty much her whole life, and her mission is to share it with everyone so that we can keep this tradition of needle lace going and keep it from going extinct. So it is just a nice thing to learn just for that. But in general, it's actually a very, very detailed book with lovely pictures to walk you through exactly how to make needle lace. This is lace that's made with a single needle. It's very complex, very beautiful, but it just takes a lot of time. And she walks you through all the materials you need to get started, the setup, and even has patterns that you can trace out. And then the book also tells you how to make these patterns. And then what's nice, you can also transfer these patterns to anything else that you want, maybe some leather working. It's just a very useful guide, and I really enjoy supporting the author as well. It's just a nice book if you want to get into some type of lace making. Now, this is not lace tatting. That is another technique, and I have not even looked into it, but I actually really like needle lace. Now, the next book I want to share with you is by a brand called American Duchess. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They are a shoe company. They make historical replicas of shoes, and they utilize a lot of historical techniques in their shoemaking so that they are better balanced than modern day shoes. They're supposed to be more comfortable, more wearable, and they're meant to be worn for years and years to come. They are shoes that you could take to be cobbled, most of them. They've had some recent shoes released that weren't made of leather that I don't think you can get cobbled or repaired, but their leather shoes do come with like extra sole pieces so that you can take them to a cobbler and get them repaired as needed. I have a couple of pairs. I have a pair I wore for Jekyll and Hyde. I don't wear them very often, but they are a Victorian boot, like a button-up boot. I just don't have a lot of things to go with it. I just really like them. And then I have a pair I actually wear to work when I go into the office, which is from the 1960s. They're a suede pink leather shoe. They're super pretty. They too came with replaceable bottoms of the heels and stuff. So they are meant to be cobbled as well. I have another pair. I actually need to list them on Mercari for sale because I missed the return window and they're just too small. That's the downside with American Duchess, is because of the styles of shoes, the sizing can be a bit strange. So I bought it in my size and they're way too small. So I can't wear those. Everything else though, buying in my size, I've had good luck with, but just, read the descriptions and the reviews and stuff before you purchase from there. But I love them. They're very expensive shoes, but they're well worth it. They partnered with, I believe, Simplicity, and they've made some sewing patterns. And actually, this is really funny. So when I bought this book, this is the 18th century dressmaker book. When I bought it, I used one of their patterns to make my Ariel dress, and I was able to figure out the bodice, but I could not for the life of me figure out the skirt. I know now they were cartridge pleats, but back then I didn't have the words or the skills to understand what they're trying to tell me. And not to mention, I don't think Simplicity, their patterns are super beginner friendly anyway, but it was this dress. This was the dress that was on that pattern. And after I bought this book years later and opened it up and saw it, I was just like, oh my gosh. And actually in this book, it does go into detail about how to make that dress. So this is a great companion if you ever wind up purchasing that pattern, but you actually don't need to, because there are pattern pieces in here for how to make that dress. So if you are familiar with how to take patterns like this and size them up for you, you don't need to buy the actual pattern from Simplicity, and then you can make it custom fit you. And they do explain fitting stuff, but this is not a book for beginners. I feel like maybe intermediate. It is a bit technical, and I mean, historical fashion is always a bit difficult for a beginner, in my opinion, or at least it was for me. This is a nice resource. They also have another book called 18th Century Beauty. It's all about like makeup and hairstyles for this time period. So if you're interested in historical fashion, or you're wanting to do a cosplay that takes from historical fashion, like the next Sakizo build I want to do, this is a great resource to help you build something historically accurate, which is something I really enjoy doing. The next couple of books I'm going to share are specific around leatherworking. So I've been getting into leatherworking a lot lately. I'm actually using it in my Rumi build, and I'm using it in my Sakizo build. And so I have a couple of resources that I'd like to share with you. So I don't know if you've heard of Black Raven Armory. I get their ads all the time on Facebook, and I'm not a fan of their ads. It kind of makes them sound, I don't know. They used to sell a lot of leather patterns, and with the patterns, you got a bunch of like courses and stuff and like videos to help walk you through how to make those patterns. And then they stopped selling their patterns to focus on selling courses. And that always feels a bit weird to me, because online courses, are typically a scam. They've recently started releasing their patterns again, because I think they probably made more with their patterns than anything else. But either way, their patterns and their videos that come with the patterns are worth it. They are very good videos, very good instructions. And even if you don't want the videos and you just want the patterns themselves are super easy to follow as well if you have a basic understanding of leather craft. But if you don't have a basic understanding of leather craft and you don't want to sign up for their classes, they sell a book. And this is called Leather Crafting by Alex Agricola, or Black Raven Armory. It is incredibly good for getting started in leather crafting, and it contains pretty much what their videos contain, it's just in book format, but it talks about how to get started. One of my favorite parts of this book is designing for movement, so that you can understand some potential restrictions with the leather, because it is stiff. It also walks you through how to make your own custom mannequin, if that's something you want. Through drafting, it talks you through materials, and it talks you through techniques. And like, this is a great book for understanding how to create leather, but there are no patterns in here. It's meant to be used as a supplement to the patterns that they sell. But what I really like about this company, this brand, is they make a lot of fantasy armor. They have like a dragon pattern, which I think is actually right here on the front. They do like dragon scales and stuff like that. So if fantasy armor is something you're wanting to get into, it's a great place to start. I got this book off Amazon. I have purchased the collection of their armor patterns as well. They do have female patterns, which is super great. So I just think it's a great resource. It's just that they market themselves in something that feels a little on the scammy side, because I think we've been very much overran by scam courses online. But you can just buy their patterns. You don't need their courses. And this is a great supplemental book for getting started with making leather armor. Next, I'm actually really excited to share this book with you. It's one more on leather craft. So I have been searching for a couple months now on books on how to make shoes. I want to make my own leather boots, and I finally found one. This is called Handcraft Your Own Shoes and Boots by Nita Hussein. When I tell you that there is not a lot of books out there on how to make your own shoes, I mean it. There is not. I searched for a couple months for just a decent book, and I ordered a couple from Amazon. They wound up being absolute trash. Amazon books, you have to be very careful when you order books on Amazon. Make sure you can find the books at Barnes & Noble as well, or some other reputable bookstore, because Amazon has their own printing press where I can write up something, anything that I want, in a Microsoft Word document, and I can send it to their printing press, and they will list it for sale on Amazon and then print on demand. So they won't print it until someone purchases a copy. The problem with this is there's no editor, there's no review process, there's nothing. It's just a person who sent a Word document to Amazon who then just says, sure, and then they print it. Not only does this mean that the content you're going to get is probably not worth your time or money, but the binding of the book itself, the quality of the book, is also absolutely terrible. Maybe they have options, like tier options, I don't know. But every book I've accidentally purchased through Amazon's printing press has been like coloring book paper for the pages and like a really cheap cover. They've been very thin and small books. Any pictures inside have been blurry, which may not be Amazon's fault. It may be the fault of the person that sent in the book. I don't know, but they're terrible. Like, look at the publisher. If it says like independently published or Amazon publisher, I forget what it's called. Google what it is to make sure it's not an Amazon thing, because it is terrible. Their print on demand is terrible. And so I'm hoping to stop you from getting burned the way I did, because I tried to purchase a book on needle lace making and it was like 20 pages long. Look how thick this book is on needle lace and how high quality it is. This is over 100 pages on how to do needle lace, and the book I wound up purchasing from Amazon was like 20 pages of coloring book paper with 0 photos, and clearly it was a Microsoft, you could tell it was a Microsoft Word document. It was not formatted like a book, like when you would open it up and you'd have like information over here and information over here, and this just does not look like a Microsoft Word document. That one did. It was like bulleted. It was so bad. I had like, I don't know. And then I purchased a book on how to make your own leather shoes, and it was the exact same thing. It was trash. There were, I think, 3 photos in it. It was 25 pages long. Terrible. Just fair warning. But I finally, after many trial and error, I found a book. Now this book is, I believe, self-published. I'm not like knocking all self-publishers, and it's not like the best quality book. The paper inside is definitely not super great. The pictures are very washed out. This is written by, I think, a content creator. I think they have a blog all about leather shoe making, but this book is actually filled with information. Look how thick it is. It has everything you need to understand the tools that you need to get started, understand blocking your shoe, making your shoe pattern, helps you understand the types of leather you should be using for a shoe. It walks you through every single step of making a shoe. And it also has a few different types of shoes in here so that you can follow along under projects, 5 different projects for you to follow along with and make with the book. And this is so good. It's written in a way that's very easy to understand for the beginning shoemaker. And there's also supplement websites you can find online as well, but like this book is so worth it if you want to get into leather shoemaking. And it's the only one I found that's worth the money I spent on it and didn't have to return. I only have 2 more things for you today. They're just reference books. So I spend a lot of time researching the designs that I want to make and looking for references. And I just wanted to share a couple of options with you. If you're into Disney and you like to make Disney costumes, this is the Art of Disney Costuming book. This massive, massive book. It has, I'm gonna have to open it on my lap. It has up close images and details about select costumes from select movies. So if you don't plan on making anything from these particular movies, you're not going to find value in it. But if you are, it's going to be a good resource for understanding the design or getting those up close looks. Have things Enchanted's in here. Getting an up-close look at the costume that may be difficult to find online or in the movies. I've personally bought it for the live-action Cinderella, and she's in here. Like, I'm interested in the background of the costumes myself, so I find this book just interesting to read in general. But you also get a close-up of the shoe, the real-life shoe, not the animated shoe in the movie. And you get a nice detail of, like, the butterflies. Like, it's hard to get that sort of close-up look. So I appreciate it for that. It also has Once Upon a Time Cinderella gown in here, which is actually incredibly stunning. I don't think I ever paid much attention to it. So this is just a fun guide to have, and it's just like a nice little coffee table book to have if you like to have something out for people to look through. Also, the last thing I want to share with you is don't discount the magazine aisle. So one of my next builds is going to be Glinda's bubble dress and eventually her blue and purple dress. Don't discount the magazine aisle because you're gonna find some great reference images in magazines. So I missed out on buying the first one, but interestingly enough, I can actually order the first one. This is part of a 2-part series, People Magazine. And inside it has just like all this background information on the movie and like behind the scenes stuff. But if you're planning on making the bubble dress, the blue dress, this is going to be some of the best reference images that you get, like, especially if you're wanting to make it before the movie comes out. It has up close images of the beading just in this magazine. This is like the CGI concept art, which is really cool to see. But you get these up close details of the various costumes within Wicked. Look at that embroidery, like just stunning. But you started noticing that, like, with movies that are very popular that I would love to make costumes out of, I've been noticing that, like, People Magazine and some others have been releasing these special editions. And so don't discount your magazine aisle. If there's a movie or something coming out that you know is really popular, take a gander through the aisle or like the checkout at your local grocery store and see if there's anything that exists, because this could become a really good reference for your next build. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize for being so low energy. I think I'm a little under the weather and I'm just incredibly tired today. So I am going to go ahead and hop off. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe for more content from me. I hope you found the information in here valuable for your next build. And with that, I will see you in my next video. Bye!